Hey Cooper, wondering what it would mean for you this week to capture the Triple Crown and get lead the NFL in receptions, yards, and touchdowns.
Um, I, I mean, it would be a pretty incredible thing. There's a lot of really good football players in this league, so a lot of really good receivers that I've got a ton of respect for. So it'd be very cool. I mean, the most important thing is that we win the game and lock down the division title and be ready to move into the playoffs here. But yeah, it would be a very cool thing just because of the respect I have for the players in this league and the talent that there is. It's a tough thing to do when you're talking about some guys that have played some really good football around the league. A lot of guys that I've learned from, that I've been able to talk to, and and just learn a lot from. So it's it'd be cool though.
A little left field here, but are you a fan of horse racing?
I can't say I've watched a lot of horse racing.
Okay. Have you ever heard it called before the season the Triple Crown in the NFL?
Yes, I've heard the Triple Crown. Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Stu?
Hey Cooper, what's it like just going into the final week of the regular season, kind of like what you mentioned, just with the chance to not only, play for the division title at home, but also, the number 2 seed and kind of everything that's going into this last regular season game here?
Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity. Week 18, playing for something as big as the division title. It's and being able to do it at SoFi too. It's there's a lot going into it. It's the most important game of the year. It's our next one, and we're excited about attacking that opportunity. It'll be a fun week.
And then I know I've asked you about Ben Skoranek before, but I mean, he showed up big again, especially toward the end of the game yesterday. It looked like the route he ran, the way he ran it, played a big role, at least with helping Odell get that catch on 4th and 5. But what have you continued to see from him, and how has he kind of shown up in big ways for you guys?
Yeah, he's done an incredible job as a rookie coming in here, learning this offense, the detail he's playing with, the speed at which he's playing with as well. I think as the season's gone on, just getting more and more comfortable, playing fast, thinking less, feeling free to make mistakes too. I think that's a huge part of it. You can't play this game fearing failure. It's always about just attacking success over and over and over again. And he's doing a great job with that right now. I thought, filling in for Van on a couple of things where Van was out a couple of days of practice, but being able to come in and be as detailed as he was. Obviously, you see the stuff, making the big play there on the last drive, being able to get Odell open on that game-winning touchdown. But the stuff that he was doing even before that, blocking, the speed that he was in terms of pushing down the field and opening guys up underneath, he was doing some really good stuff for us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cooper, we'll have to get you out to the horse races sometime.
Sometime.
Sometime. In addition to the Triple Crown, you're within range, but not easy range, of the single season records for receptions and yards. How important is that to you? Have you talked with Sean or talked with Matthew about what your priorities are?
Mm-hmm. No, we haven't really discussed that because I think they kind of know where my priorities are. And, and in all honesty, in my opinion, we're in a very unique season. We're in the longest football season ever played. This is what the guys did that set those records. Mike Thomas, Randy Moss for the touchdowns, what Calvin Johnson did with yards. What those guys did in 16 games, it wouldn't seem right for those to be broken in 17 games. It just doesn't. It wouldn't hold the same weight to me as it does for guys that have done that in a 16-game season. And when the accomplishments those guys had, the seasons those guys put together, those are incredible things, incredible accomplishments. So you kind of have to separate the two. We're in a new age of football here where we're playing 17 games a year. A lot of the stuff that had happened before that, I think those records hold a different weight, being that they were played in those 16 games. So I have just an incredible respect for what those guys were able to do, what they were able to accomplish, and what they were able to produce for their teams in those 16 games. So my priorities are going on winning this game this week, whatever it takes to win that. If it means, spending more time blocking defensive ends and being able to get Sony sprung for some big gains, that'd be huge. I just want, like I said before, I just want to do my job. Whatever they're asking me, I just want to do my job over and over again and be a part of helping this team win.
Well, then a question about the team. This is the fourth time in your 5 years the team is heading toward the playoffs. With the sort of framework of how it's gone into the playoffs in the past, how do you feel about the groundwork that the team has laid for a playoff run?
Yeah, I think we've done some good stuff. We obviously have had to overcome some adversity just in the course of this year. Even in some of these later games, to overcome some stuff and continue to battle back. We've got guys that just continue to fight and taking some good momentum into this thing, and hoping to continue to build on that. But at the end of the day, you just know you have to take it 1 week at a time. Handle your business at hand. Handle every single day. Come in, just try to get a little bit better. Prepare yourself to be able to let it all go on Sunday, and then you come back. You fix the things that need to be fixed, and you move forward and make the changes and get better the next week. So regardless, this is just an incredible league where you have to bring it every single week, and we've done some good stuff. I'm excited to continue to build on it.
And then just one more, the 49ers have not been easy for you guys. What are you facing?
Yeah, well, they're a good football team. They're also, they've put together some good wins, strung together some good wins here late in the year. And I think at the bottom line is they're a very good football team. They have some really good football players, and as most teams in this league do, you have to bring it everything you've got week after week. So they've had our number the last few times we've played them. Without a doubt, we just got to be able to play our ball, play within ourselves, to play to the best of our ability, and control the things that we can control, and know that the preparation we put in this week, we go out there and do what we're supposed to do. We just have to be, know that our best is going to be good enough.
Thanks.
Yep.
Jordan.
Hey, Cooper. Happy New Year. Just wondered, it's been really clear since the spring into the fall camp, even some of the anecdotes that we hear sometimes about you and your input on plays and things like that, that this has been really a group effort collaboratively in putting in this new offense with Matthew Stafford and some of the concepts Sean's been wanting to run. What is that as the course of the season? And now you're also introducing game planning for opponents. As the course of the season's continued, what's that problem solving been like for you? Has it been like invigorating almost in a way? And how has that collaboration been, not just overall installing, but like actually then solving people in real time?
Yeah, well, that's the beautiful thing about football over the last few years. I think if you look at our offense, there's just been an adaptability and ability to add new things in and not get stuck. Knowing what the core of what your identity is, but being able to find ways to, week after week, find little advantages here or there based on what the defense is giving you. I guess it's a fun thing about football is being able to come in week after week and prepare. There's always something on the table that you've got to take care of. And so being able to come in and have the group of guys that we do, the coaches that we do that put in so much time to be able to put us as players in good positions. It's a really fun thing. And, I think one of the things that I've been most appreciative of this year, something that I don't know, infatuation is probably the wrong word, but I've really enjoyed being able to be a part of, the blocking surface in the run game more than I ever have been. And being able to, work collaboratively with the offensive line and be a part of being a pseudo tight end, if you will, being able to work in combinations with tight ends and tackles and find ways to, run the ball more efficiently and being a part of that. It's been a new part of the game that I've never been able to be as a part of as I would like to. And so it's just a new thing for me that I've really enjoyed, kind of stepping into. And it's been, that's been kind of one of the funnest things I think about this year is just the evolution of kind of being involved in every facet of this offense now, where it's not just in the pass game, but really truly being involved in the run game and not just being a wide receiver that's supposed to block DBs, but just being able to truly be a part of what the run scheme and what we're trying to get done.
You've always sort of welcomed that kind of contact throughout your career in college as well. But in terms of really being sort of I guess like a master key in that regard, in that phase, you couldn't hit in the spring, you couldn't hit in training camp really, or obviously the preseason. Was there a game where maybe it was a hit, maybe it was a moment where you did hit a block really, really well in that specific phase that you're talking about, where you're like, all right, I've now taken another step?
I think it's just continued to grow. I don't think there's one specific time that I felt like, something like clicked necessarily, but we've watched, I take it upon myself to, watch every part of the game. I want to be able to watch while the offensive line is blocking things and what they're doing, how they're working combination, because what those guys have to go through, it is an extremely detailed position. It's not a bunch of meatheads just banging heads against each other play after play. They have very detailed and specific rules and steps, and everything that they're doing it has to be choreographed together perfectly. So I appreciate what those guys do. It gives you an appreciation as a receiver now to be on the receiving end of, those guys doing their job really, really well. So I think when watching that stuff has helped kind of see, okay, this is how these guys hit these blocks. And I just kind of try to emulate that with, 100 less pounds on my body still. So yeah, I'll find a little bit different ways in that regard. But those guys have really set the standard and set the template for how I then go about it, trying to just emulate that and being able to bounce things off of, Rob Havenstein, Andrew Whitworth, Tyler Higbee, trying to, just collaborate with them. Like, hey, how can this be better? What can I be doing better? And just continue to work together and find ways to be more efficient.
Thanks, Cooper.
Yep.
Caitlin?
Hey, Cooper, congrats on the record-setting season, man.
Thank you.
For you, how much work during the offseason goes into developing, specifically like your route running?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's always a fine balance of figuring out, how early do you want to get back out in the field doing the football specific stuff. When the season gets, finishes up and trying to get into a plan for kind of things you want to work on. I think there's taking a good amount of time where you're not doing any physical activity, but you're mentally just kind of reflecting on what you can do better. So I always kind of give myself that time to be able to reflect and figure out what kind of my focus is going to be for the off season. And then planning, getting your body back into going again is kind of the next step, and building your body up how you want to. And then after you've done that, then it's really dialing in on the football stuff and being specific to the movements that you're going to be doing as a wide receiver in the NFL. I really believe that collaboration is one of the most important things in this game. So I try to just be able to bounce ideas off of people. This offseason spent most of my time training with Brandon Cooks up in Oregon, and being able to have someone of his caliber that's done such incredible things. I think he went over 1,000 again this year. I think it's sixth time in his 8 years. It seems like he's went over 1,000. So just being able to bounce things off of a player of that caliber, being able to just reach out to people and just see what they're doing, what they're thinking about certain things, how they approach different routes or different coverages and how they want to attack them. That's just really important to me. So as you get later in the year, then it's kind of about that transition onto the field and the specific intricacies of running routes and creating separation.
And then for you, do you have like a personal trainer that you'd work with to develop your routing, or is it just you collaborating with teammates and other players around the league?
Yeah, so I think I've kind of changed it up every single year where what my work has been. But this last year I was able to connect with E-Force up in Oregon, and they've got a great group of coaches there that have been great for me. Really enjoyed this offseason, the work we were able to put in, and kind of how they set you up, how they progress you through the offseason, being able to peak at the right times and stuff like that. So I'll definitely be ending up going back with them, and have a lot of respect for those guys and the work they're able to get in.
Gotcha. My last question for you. I know that you have family ties to the NFL, and I know that, from an athletic standpoint, I'm sure that there's some sort of advantage there, but for you to develop yourself into the player that you are today, to put in so much sweat equity over the off seasons. How much for you does it mean to see all that hard work, translate to the big year that you've had?
Yeah, it's obviously, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, it's tough. I think look back at where things started off and what you kind of have to build into. It's if you look back to it, it's a lot of time, a lot of effort, I guess, that you spent doing what you love. But really, I've enjoyed every part of developing as a football player, as an athlete, as a man. It's just been something that I look forward to each and every day. And so it is a lot of sweat, a lot of hard work, but I've loved every moment of developing. It's something I truly, I think, yearn for, is continuing to learn, so it's been a fun process at the end of the day.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll wrap up with Michael.
Hey, Cooper. First of all, I'm digging the whole lumberjack look with the wood decor in the background, everything behind you. So piggybacking off that sweat equity that you were just talking about, a lot's been made over the years, over the course of your career, about how hard you work physically in the weight room, your route running, in the off season, whether it's breaking into fields and quarantine and, working with Matthew Stafford in the off season, your route running, your blocking. But your coaches and teammates have been saying this year, the mental side of things, the game study, to be able to read defenses, to read coverages, to read what guys are doing against you and against your teammates as well. So my question for you, as you're having this historic season, is what % would you say is your physical game, and what % is the mental side of it too?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I can put a percentage on it. I mean, you spend a lot of time developing yourself as a player. I think a lot of the off-season stuff is really the physical side of things and getting yourself in that place where your body can handle the rigors of a full NFL season. You spend a lot of time in terms of building speed, building strength, and quickness, and all the attributes you're going to need just to be able to perform at your best. And obviously, hopefully, you hope to improve those things every single year. But once you get into the season, a lot of that stuff, you hope to maintain a lot of that stuff and really transition to, well, how mentally prepared can I be to put myself in the best position to let all that work shine to the best of my ability. During the season, that's kind of where my mindset goes, and the focus being on what coverages are we seeing, what kind of tips and tells can I pick up on DBs and linebackers, how our coverage is playing out is based on certain route concepts and all this different stuff. And I think a big step that has been taken, just as I played more in this league, things have slowed down a little bit, has allowed myself to take it from preparation before a game to being able to really implement it and truly, and in live action, be able to just subconsciously react to things that I've seen, that I've watched on film, and that I can kind of anticipate those things in real time versus just watching and trying to have some kind of idea of what's happening, but really being able to live it out in the moment. And a huge part of that too, just comes from knowing the offense to a point where you aren't having to think about that as much as you are just being able to say, hear the play call and know what is going to happen across the board in terms of what we can control, and then being able to anticipate, what we might be getting on the defensive side. So during the season, it's a huge advantage, huge shift to that mental side, the mental preparation. But the off season is all about the physical side of things and getting yourself ready to go.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah.